Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is one of the most iconic and successful Christmas movies of all time, and with anything that's hugely popular, it has to be milked. Over the next 23 years, Rankin would make over 30 more movies, some of which became cult classics just like Rudolph and are still popular over 40 years later. And many of these movies revolve around Christmas. I love these Christmas movies. Every year I watch them and they never get old. Usually every year I watch them in order, but this year I wanted to do something a little bit differently. With a wheel. This is the wheel of the Rudolph Cinematic Universe, or the RCU for short. I have all the movies on here, so I'm just going to spin it, and whichever one comes up is the one that I'm going to watch first. Alright, now it's time to spin this wheel. Oh, this is going to be good. Santa Claus is Coming to Town is the origin story of Santa Claus. According to this movie, Santa was an orphan that got sent into the woods as a baby and then kidnapped by little woodland creatures who finally took him to the Kringle Elves, and to no surprise, they make toys. The only issue is the elves can't take their toys to the children in Sombertown because of the evil Winter Warlock and his mountain. Years pass and Santa Claus, aka Kris Kringle, says that he will deliver these presents over the mountain. Now you're probably wondering, Brian, why are you going so fast through this intro? Well, that's because it's really boring. All I want to do is get to the town governor, Burgermeister Meisterburger, because he is my favorite character in this movie. I just think he's a comical villain and he fits the role perfectly. That's like the only reason I like him. After Kris goes to Sombertown, he meets Jessica, and Jessica helps him deliver toys to children in the town. Afterwards, Kris goes back to the elves, but on his trek back, he gets stopped by the Winter Warlock. And this dude is terrifying. Kris gets captured by the Winter Warlock, but he decides to use the kindness in his heart and give the Warlock a toy train. This leads to, by far, the best song in the movie.
Bad to good's as easy as taking your first step. Put one foot in front of the other, and soon you'll be walking across the floor.
Seriously, this song slaps so hard. While these events transpired, in the town of Sombertown, Burgermeister takes a tumble and bans toys. So now Kris has to sneak toys into the town, and he does this like every night for a week and eventually gets caught. So now they have to use Winter Warlock's magic food to feed the reindeer and make them fly so they can finally deliver toys to the kids. This middle part of the movie is by far the best part and has all of the iconic moments. But the ending of this movie is so unsatisfying. Instead of defeating the Burgermeister, all that happens is he dies of old age and Santa and the gang move to the North Pole. Overall, this is one of my favorite movies in this series, and it was almost perfect if not for that unsatisfying ending. I think this one is the second most iconic movie in this Rudolph Cinematic Universe. You see a lot of things that get carried over into other Christmas specials, like the mailman who was in one of the SpongeBob Christmas specials. Overall, on the RCU scale, I'm going to give this 8 candy canes out of 10. Almost perfect. Alright, it's time to spin the wheel again. Let's see what we get. Oh yeah. Rudolph needs no introduction. Everyone knows this movie. It's amazing how even after 50 years it still holds up very well. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this movie since it's so iconic. All I've got to say is the snow monster used to terrify me when I was super little, but as I got older I started to love him. I even have the stocking with him on it. Also, during the end credits, this elf kills this bird by not giving him an umbrella. The reason this is a problem is because the bird can't fly. He swims.
How would you like to be a bird that doesn't fly? I swim.
Yeah, we better lock this man up. Overall, I give Rudolph a 10 out of 10 easy. Alright, time to spin the wheel. There is only one reason that makes this movie stand out above any others, and that's the Miser twins.
I'm Mr. White Christmas. I'm Mr. Snow.
The song these two sing is a bop, and the chemistry they have is amazing. Honestly, these two are the best part of the movie. The rest of it is alright. It doesn't have Rudolph in it though. Okay, so basically what this movie is about is Santa Claus canceling Christmas because he doesn't feel the love of the children anymore and he has a cold. Mrs. Claus, seeing him depressed over the kids not believing, sends two elves, Jingle and Jangle, to the town of Southtown, USA. Aren't these town names amazing in these movies? First Somber Town, then Southtown. It's incredible. Anyways, while at Southtown, Vixen, the reindeer they rode on, gets taken by a dog pound. During these events, Santa gets out of bed and goes after them because he's upset with Mrs. Claus for sending them. While he's there, he stalks a child.
Hi there, little fella.
And then he talks to the parents of the child, who shows Santa that people still do believe in him. Also, this movie proves that Santa is a creep. Not only did he follow a child, but the father tells a story of him waking up with Santa Claus being in his room at night. It's very creepy. After this, the kid goes to the mayor to help Santa Claus, and he meets up with Jingle and Jangle. They tell the mayor the dilemma, and the mayor laughs at them and says, "If you can make it snow in Southtown, I'll believe you." So Jingle and Jangle call Mrs. Claus, and then they go to the Miser Brothers. We made it to the best part of the movie. Okay, let's keep going. Mrs. Claus asks the Miser Brothers to let it snow in Southtown, in which the two brothers start arguing and fighting about it, so Mrs. Claus goes to their mom, Mother Nature. Mother Nature makes the boys solve the dilemma, and it makes it snow in Southtown. Afterwards, there's a musical number, and Santa Claus is now going to do Christmas this year. Yay! We did it. That took a lot out of me. I think this movie is great just because of the Miser Brothers. These dudes are iconic. I'm gonna say it's a solid 9 out of 10. Okay. Last spin. This movie is weird. I don't really understand why it was made, but I love it. I'm going to do my best to describe what happens in this movie, but I'm going to leave a lot out because there's so much crazy stuff that happens. Okay, so basically after Christmas, Santa gets a letter from Father Time asking for help to find the baby New Year named Happy. Santa needs to find Happy before the New Year, or else it would be December 31st forever. Santa sends Rudolph to Father Time, and Father Time tells Rudolph that Happy ran away because people kept laughing at his giant ears. Oh yeah, I forgot to talk about Eon the Terrible, who is a vulture who plans on kidnapping Happy because Eon lives for exactly 1 eon, and this particular eon ends on New Year's. Alright, now that you're caught up, let's keep going. Father Time says that Happy is hiding in the archipelago of last years, which is a group of islands that is stuck in the last year. Rudolph goes to these islands with Big Ben the whale, and on the first island he meets OM the caveman, who says Happy left the island. So Rudolph, Ben, and OM go to the island of 1023, which is an island of fairy tales for some reason, and Rudolph meets a knight. While this is happening, Happy meets the three bears from Goldilocks, but they laugh at his big ears, so he leaves to the island of 1776, and Rudolph follows. They all meet Ben Franklin, and during the 4th of July parade, Happy gets laughed at and runs away. Afterwards, Happy gets taken by Eon, and they go to Eon's lair. Rudolph and the gang follow, and while Eon is asleep, Rudolph goes and tells Happy about how his ears are a good thing because they make people laugh. Eon wakes up, laughs at Happy's ears, and is laughing so hard he falls off the mountain and dies. Just kidding, he just keeps laughing. Rudolph calls Santa, and they bring Happy back to Father Time just in time for the New Year's, and then the movie ends. Okay, that movie has so much stuff going on. First off, how does a baby determine the New Year? And when the New Year comes around, where does the baby go? Also, is Eon dead now? Like, they just straight up left him there laughing, but now it's New Year's, so Eon is just dead. Rudolph straight up murked this dude and feels no remorse because Eon was just laughing. Out of all these movies, this one is the strangest, but it's also the funniest. When I was younger, this was my favorite because I liked seeing the fairy tales, but it doesn't hold up the same as the others. I'm gonna give this one a 7 out of 10. Okay, time for the last movie. This movie is like the Avengers Endgame of the RCU. It connects the dots with all of these movies by introducing the villain Winterbolt and Aurora Borealis. So many years before Santa and Rudolph, the North Pole was ruled by Winterbolt. In response to his evil, Aurora Borealis puts him into an eternal slumber and says that he will wake up when her powers are diminished. Over time, while Winterbolt is asleep, Santa goes to the North Pole and sets up his workshop. Then, Rudolph is born, and on the day Rudolph is born, Aurora Borealis gives Rudolph his magic nose and says, if you use it for evil, it will go out. On the same day, Winterbolt wakes up and, in an attempt to stop Santa, he sets up a powerful storm that Rudolph's nose gets them through. It's basically the plot of the first movie. So after this, Winterbolt plans on disposing of Rudolph and claiming the North Pole back. So Winterbolt uses his magic and convinces Milton the Ice Cream Man to invite Rudolph and Frosty to the circus. Winterbolt offers Frosty and his family some magic crystals so they don't melt, but they only last until the final firework of the 4th of July. So Santa says he'll pick up Frosty right before the fireworks end, and then Rudolph and Frosty and Frosty's family leave for the circus. While Rudolph and Frosty go to the circus, Winterbolt meets an old reindeer named Scratcher who was fired by Santa when Rudolph was recruited. Winterbolt also makes a giant blizzard so Santa can't make it to the circus in time to pick up Frosty and his family. Scratcher goes to the circus and forms an alliance with Sam Spangles, someone who wants to buy out the circus, and then goes to Rudolph. Scratcher then tricks Rudolph into robbing the circus and giving the money to Sam Spangles, which makes Rudolph lose his nose because he did an act of evil. Okay, this next part's kind of confusing. Instead of proving his innocence, Rudolph makes a deal with Winterbolt to appear guilty in exchange with Frosty staying alive. Rudolph then tells everyone he is guilty, causing them to all lose respect for him, except for Frosty, who knows what truly is happening. While upset, Rudolph goes for a walk on the beach where he meets Big Ben from the last movie we watched. Big Ben says he can help by going to South America for some reason, and while this happened, Frosty finds out about Winterbolt's plan and offers his hat, which gives him his life in exchange for Rudolph's nose. But what Frosty doesn't know is Winterbolt does not have the power to give Rudolph his nose back. So after Frosty gives Winterbolt his hat, Rudolph risks his life to get back the hat and gets his magic nose powers back. Afterwards, a policeman sets the record straight, proving Rudolph's innocence, and gives Frosty his hat back, and then they murder Winterbolt in the most gruesome and terrifying way by turning him into an ugly tree. But now that Winterbolt is dead, Frosty and his family melt due to the magic crystal powers running out. But right when they melt, Big Ben returns with Jack Frost from South America, who brings Frosty and his family back to life, and then the movie ends. This movie is weird. I love it and I hate it. I love Frosty and the idea that Winterbolt has been there the whole time connecting all of these movies, but I also hate how convoluted and bloated this plot is and how there's so many bad deals going on. But there's so many sweet moments with Santa and Mrs. Claus and Rudolph that it kind of makes it a satisfying ending to these characters, so I'm barely going to give this movie a 6 out of 10. It's kind of sad that this was one of the last Rudolph or Christmas movies that Rankin made because they shut down just a few years later, but now that I have watched all of the Rudolph Cinematic Universe, I'm going to rank them. Number 5, worst movie. Rudolph and Frosty's Christmas in July. Just a very bloated story that has a lot of boring moments, but it has a lot of sweet moments that kind of feels like Rankin sending off these characters that we love. Number 4, Rudolph's Shiny New Year. This one was my favorite when I was young, but it doesn't hold up the same today. It has a lot of funny and cute moments, but it doesn't have the same charm, memorability as some of the other movies in this series, so I'm gonna put it here at number 4. Number 3, Santa is Coming to Town. This movie is one of the OGs. It's the chronological beginning of this series and the beginning of Christmas in general. It has a lot of really good characters like Burgermeister, and it has some pretty good songs, but my only real issue is the ending is kind of unsatisfying. But overall, it's one of the best movies in this series, and I'm putting it here at number 3. Number 2, The Year Without a Santa Claus. I don't need any other reason to like this movie other than the Miser twins. Although they barely have any screen time, they still carry this entire movie and give it so much charm, and their song slaps so hard. And now, for the best movie in the RCU, it's Rudolph. Obviously. You can't not have this as your favorite. This movie has changed the genre of holiday movies, and even after 50 years, it holds up amazingly. What else do I have to say? It's a good movie. Well, that's all I have for today. I just want to say Merry Christmas and thank you for watching my video all the way to the end. If you would be so kind, please send this video to a friend and like it too. Well, I best get going now. I got a lot of videos to make in 2021 and I gotta plan these out. Bye bye.
I told you it's game over. Only like you in your suburb. Had to cut you off, now I don't give a fuck about you.